rust-proofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
A proven winner on the hockey rink, Joe Wolf knows what it takes to be the best. That's why he has the best rates in the area and only has rave reviews of his work with Wolf Power Washing. Get that siding back to its original color with Joe. Call him at 314-420-5434. That's 314-420-5434. Welcome to episode 44 of season 13. That's right, it's the episode number of everyone's favorite Blue, Terry Hollinger. This is episode number 475, all-time of the often imitated, never duplicated. We put the ache in breakdancing. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, Realtor Mike Burgoyne. You can email at mike@strikewithmike.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Make sure to utilize him if you're buying or selling property. And Wolf Power Washing, who has the best power washing rates in town. Call Joe at 314-420-5434 and book your appointment today. Also, don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop at letsgoblues.com for some well-designed and fairly priced blues-themed t-shirts. Check us out on Discord. We are new and improved. I don't think we're really new and improved anymore, Kurt. It's been a while.
We're just awesome.
We're just awesome. Yeah. We're awesome. Check us out. Discord. letsgoblues.com/Discord. It's Wednesday, August 14th, and we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Wait, scratch that. We are no longer on Twitter because Elon Musk is a douche nozzle for only allowing premium members to stream. So bye for that.
The link is out there, though.
The link is on Twitter. So if you're seeing this, you can go to Twitter and then click the link and come right back to us. I don't know. But it is out there. Instagram and also the big screen at Busch Stadium, because who wants to watch that crap on the field? Wherever you get live video casts, you can find Let's Go Blues Radio. To interact with the show on social media, our handle on all social channels is at LGB Radio. Just search for us and you'll find us. And if you haven't already done so, please like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, buy a t-shirt from our shop, buy a new pet, and name her Bill Day, or do whatever you can do to help us out. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by Kurt Price and Bill Day. The agenda for tonight's show includes really only a couple things, but some pretty big news with some offer sheets coming out of St. Louis and Edmonton, which we will get into in depth. All that and more on this pontificating and dogmatic edition of Let's Go Blues Radio. Gentlemen, especially Kurt, we haven't seen you since, I think, the first week after the Blues were let go, like they were fired. After the Blues didn't make the playoffs, I think was the last time we saw you. So welcome back to the show.
I was on the draft. We did stuff for the draft. I think.
Did we?
Yeah. I thought, didn't we?
I don't think so.
Maybe not. I thought maybe we
so.
didn't. Okay, I thought it's been a while. No, I've said before, I take the summers to decompress from everything. I get so engrossed in the NHL and Blues hockey and everything during the season that I take the summers off and I don't post as much. I try and disconnect a little bit in the summer just for mental health reasons.
It's a good idea. And I'll tell you, I know I said probably early in the summer that I do this every summer, and last summer I was like, this is the last one, because it was tough. It started, I always say, it's when it starts to feel like work is when I'm not going to do it anymore. Last summer was work. This, again, getting back to just interviewing cool people, and then the stuff we've done with Bill and goal has been awesome, and it made me enjoy it again. So as long as this summer continues to go the way it is, we will still have shows over the summer. But yes, no Kurt as much, which I'm okay with.
You know what? I'm okay with it too. I've got so much going on. It's just trying to squeeze the show into it. Even if it's only, well, the listeners may think, well, it's only a couple hours a week. Yeah, but prep for the show is more hours, and it's a lot of work that goes into the show prep. You know, Jeff knows, Bill doesn't. But
Nope.
Bill doesn't need to prep though. He's just it's all up here for him.
And
That's true.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's I mean, you're taking notes for days, and you're jotting stuff down, and the day of you're putting stuff together. It's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. So again, fun work, but it's work, and it's it's an effort.
And again, and for me, the reason that I still do it and say it's not like work, although last summer was, is because it's like two different shows for me. We have our season shows where we talk about the games, the news going on around the team, the injuries, whatever's going on. And then over the summer, it's just kind of like, it's a whole different podcast. For those of you who listen to both know that that's the case, because we do interviews, we do fun stuff. This summer, I've been playing games with the guests, like trivia games. And it's just a completely different step back, reassess how the show's made. And it's just made it fun for me. So again, that's going to continue. And we've had a lot of fun this summer. Bill, you've been there for a little bit of it, but we've had some really awesome guests this summer. It's been awesome. And again, Bill's stuff in goal has been a blast to do that kind of thing.
I have checked the show out from time to time, and you've done a fantastic job. And Bill's stuff in that was that's cool. It's just fun to see, stuff on the ice and stuff. It's just a good job. Good as always. Good job during the summer.
Thank you. And yeah, Bill, we haven't done it yet, and it keeps getting pushed back because we've had some awesome guests. But we did have another session in goal with Bill. We're going to show some of that in a couple weeks, but that was fun too, and we also got way better camera angles because it wasn't a pickup game. We just had like a fun shoot around for an hour. So we literally got like real action shots of people taking shots on goal, passing the puck around, getting chances on goal, and
scoring goals, and
yes, lots of goals,
scoring more goals. And
but no, I mean, that was a fun one because it was just, we literally had we told everyone like, hey, have some fun, go and take some shots on Bill, pass the puck around, do some crazy stuff. And that's what we did. And so I'm excited to share that video out, but we've just had so many guests and so many other things going on that it's had to kind of take a back seat for a little while. But Bill, you've enjoyed those, right? Those have been good.
No, it's been, absolutely, it was kind of the push I needed personally to make sure I got back out on the ice. Been talking about it for way too long, and gave me an outlet for it. And I'm glad to participate. My summers have usually been a lot like Kurt's, and where I just I need to take that couple hours a week that go into me doing this show, and give them just set that aside. But no, being in the middle of it, being engaged and getting out there and playing and helping you drive content, that was a lot of fun. And not that we can do Bill's back and goal for the first time every summer, but if we do more on ice stuff next summer, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, that's a lot of it fun. A lot of the fun for me too is because I play year round. So, and I'm a beer league player, so I don't really get to see myself skate and play. So that last round we did where I could actually see myself skating and playing, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not as terrible as I thought. It's kind of nice seeing. So, yeah, it's fun for me too. I've really enjoyed it. But as I said, we've had some guests that we were supposed to have Tom Calhoun on this week. Kurt, I was telling Bill, it's weird to say this, we had to bump Tom Calhoun.
Sorry, Tom, you've missed your first appearance in what, 27 years? Is that?
yeah, that's true. But your streak is over.
Yeah. and that first time we had him on was audio issues where he was hearing an echo.
The lost episode.
Yeah. Yep.
Where he was
never
was.
What was that term called? Shoot. I forgot the audio term for what he was experiencing, but we were feeding his audio back to him, and he was hearing it on delay, and that was totally on us. But that was when we were still new to the whole thing,
Right.
kind of. So we had.
Yeah, if that happened now, I'd be like, okay, let's close her up. We clearly don't know what we're talking about.
I think it was a mix minus. Is that what's called a mix minus?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So we screwed it up.
FYI, we've got a ton of chat going on with the Blues news right now. We will get to that, folks. I know we like to delay it and make you all wait for the great hockey talk. But I will say, so next week, as long as the Blues don't do anything else crazy, we will have Tom Calhoun on next week. And then after that, we have, so last week we did the Save the BHL episode, which I thought was an interesting local hockey interest story. H&A, who I play for, they have reached out and asked if they could kind of tell their side of the story. So we will also have H&A coming on soon to explain their whole thing with the ice time with the BHL. And then also, again, like I said, we've got Bill back in goal. We'll have so those are probably the next 3 episodes, again, as long as the Blues don't do anything nuts and we got to go live. So beers of the episode. I don't know if you guys have any. I don't remember what order we've gone into the past recently, but you can follow each of us on the Untapped app. Kurt is at CPrice12. You can follow me at JPonder94, and Bill is at BillyBlueNote33. Let's start with Kurt. Why not?
I don't have a beer. I've got good old ice water. So you can, very exciting for me this evening.
You were eating Lion's Choice when I talked to you earlier. I was afraid you were going to have the good ice.
I did have the good ice. I had, because they got that good ice. But no, I had a Coke zero sugar. Yeah, I've talked about the zero sugar on the show before. You guys soda drinkers? Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Have you sampled the zero sugar line of sodas?
My wife loves the wild cherry zero sugar Pepsi.
Yeah. I like zero sugar Pepsi better than Coke, just for whatever reason. It just tastes a little better to me. But I've always hated diet soda. I really enjoy the. It's not as good as straight up soda, but it's not too far off. Way better than a good old diet soda. So I'm a zero sugar convert.
I will add that if you mix drinks, if you like to make mixed drinks at home, the zero sugar ones mix way better with alcohol. I don't know what it is. It just tastes better.
Better than diet, or better than
regular or diet soda.
Yeah, haven't really
give it a shot if you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I avoid all of the diet and zeros and zero sugars, just because I typically wind up with a massive headache if it has any amount of the artificial sweeteners in it. It just it really has a really shitty effect on me. So I go full bore for fully leaded sodies.
All right, Bill, what do you got tonight?
I do have a beer at the show, and for
Good,
me,
I'm not alone.
It's training camp for beer, so I'm going heavy. We've got the chocolate espresso KBS, current variant of Founder's Kentucky Breakfast Stout that you may find on local beer store shelves. It is very chocolatey. Very not as decadent as the Maple Mackinac, but more chocolatey than the regular espresso KBS, which is one of my all-time favorite beers. This one's not as good, but I'm loving it.
Good.
Da.
So my beer, for those that may follow me on social media, I just got back from Colorado. Estes Park, which is a beautiful part of the world, Rocky Mountain National Park. Honestly, one of my favorite vacations I've ever taken. It was just breathtaking literally breathtaking as you're hiking up mountains. I heard this guy say, and it fit perfectly what he said. My wife and I were going up the mountain. We were climbing up this mountain, and it was just, oh God, it was beautiful. But she kept saying, I got to stop. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And she thought that she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, I'm good with it because I have no fucking breath. I'm just like, okay, stop. And like, it's so funny because this guy passes, well, he starts walking up behind us, and I hear him say to his friend, he goes, I don't feel like I'm exerting myself really any more than I normally do. I just can't fucking breathe. And I turned around and I'm like, that's the exact words I needed. Yep, that's me. Because, I stay in shape, I work out, I play hockey, and so I know how to exert myself. I didn't feel like I was, but I couldn't freaking breathe. I'm just like, God, I get why people say it's hard to play hockey up here in Denver.
I don't think it matters how in shape you are. It's just your body not acclimating to the lack of oxygen that you're.
Yeah.
There's no. I guess you have to just be there for a while for your body to acclimate.
Yep. Yeah. And I think my last day there, we did pretty much a ton of hiking, and towards the end, I started feeling a lot better. Like I was used to it a little bit more. But man, that first day, I was like, I am out of shape. And then I had to keep reminding myself, no, it's because you can't freaking catch your breath up here. So yeah, it was a great trip. But so that whole thing leads into my beer, Odell Brewing, the 90 shilling ale. Very good stuff. Bill, as I'm saying this, I was like, I should have gone with my second beer as my beer of the show, because you will appreciate this. Also a Colorado beer from Avery Brewing in Boulder, Colorado, Patrol Dog Ale.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Love it.
We saw that in the store, and I was like, that's the one. We're getting that. So I was happy too, because it's a beautiful, I think that's supposed to be a golden retriever. Beautiful dog.
What kind of ale?
It is an American. It's an APA, American Pale.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good, and the 90 shilling is good too. I've never had that one before. So, and I've had Odell, but I've never had that one. So, both very good beers.
Yeah, I think I've had the 90 shilling. One of the bars around Midtown had it for on tap always, and yeah, that was my go-to there.
My boy, the Baked Beaver, comes in. He lives in Colorado area, very close to where we were. I did not get to see him, but next time we go, because there will be a next time, I'll be hitting you up, Baked Beaver. Just got here. Hope you liked it, Ponder. Yes, I did. I loved it. Again, probably my favorite vacation I've taken. I've taken, countless ocean vacations. That was my first real mountain vacation, and I think I'm more of a mountain person than an ocean person, because that was fantastic.
Yeah, we went to Estes Park, and we were talking before the show and figured out it was 16 years ago, because I'm old. And that was my favorite trip, and I figured out real quick. Yeah, I'm definitely a mountain over ocean vacation guy myself. So,
you know where my
don't get me wrong. Oh, what's that, Kurt?
Well, I was gonna jump in and just say that my vacations this summer were the last two anyway. I was going to the Ozarks for 4th of July, and then I took my kids to Godzilla to the Godzilla G-Fest in Chicago.
I thought you were saying you took them to actually see the real Godzilla in Tokyo, and I'm like, what are you thinking?
No, as much as he would love to see some kind of huge statue of Godzilla, he's a Godzilla kid. So he's in the kaiju universe, and he is just fantastic. So that was a lot of fun. Very interesting people at the G-Fest, the Godzilla Con.
I
bet. My son knows a lot about. He seems like a kaiju savant. He knows all kinds. He knows everything about this universe. But then you go there, and I think my son is smart with this stuff, and there are kids that blow him away. It's like, wow, that's bananas.
Sorry, I love this comment. Steve Sepp. This might be the comment of the show. Come on, guys, let's talk hockey.
Let's talk hockey.
Are you new around here, Steve? This is what we do.
We haven't talked to Kurt either 1 or 4 months. We can't tell.
You know what? It's 20 minutes, and we have not talked hockey, so we should.
Yeah, you're right. We probably should. Actually, to be fair. Thank you. We are 20 seconds away from being 20 minutes. So really, we're going to talk hockey before we hit the 20-minute mark. And I'm purposely now vamping because I'm waiting until 1959.
You're trying to hit the post. trying to hit the post.
Yes. All right, hang on. Here we go. Okay. The Blues are to host the Tom Curver's Prospect Showcase at Centene Community Ice Center this year. I know this is what everyone was wanting us to talk about. We're going to talk about this first.
10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
There it is. This is what we're going to talk about first, because I know that's what everyone wanted. And then after commercial, we will talk about the big news. Don't worry. The Blues, Blackhawks, and Wild Prospects will play games and practices that are free to the public at the Centene Community Ice Center. This is September 13th to the 15th. The showcase will include a round-robin style format of exhibition games featuring prospects from the Blues, Blackhawks, and Wild. The event schedule at Centene is Friday, September 13th. The Blues and Blackhawks will play that night. The whole schedule's on the website for anybody who wants to see it. I'm not going to list all of them, just the games. Saturday, the 14th, the Blackhawks and Wild will play at 6 p.m. And then on Sunday, September 15th, the Blues and Wild will play at 3. And again, there are practices and prospect practice for all three teams listed on the website if you want to go see any of those. Blues prospect roster is also on there as well. We're not going to go through the whole roster right now, but it does include names like Zach Bolduc, Zach Dean, Dalibor Dvorsky, Adam Jecko. Who else we got here?
Jeremy Biakabatuka.
Yes, one of the best names to ever say. So yes, him, of course. Thank you for taking that from me.
Batuka, football name.
Marc-Andre Gaudet, who has been a favorite of this show because of Vanessa Graff, and then me seeing him play a couple months ago, whenever that was, when they had the prospect camp. And then, of course, in goal, they'll have Will Cranley and Vadim Zherenko. So the Blues have technically always gone to, except for last season, let's see if I say it right, Traverse City. Right?
You got it right this year.
Boom! First time for everything.
Traverse
City. Last year, they went to Minnesota for this Tom Curver's Prospect Showcase. Now it's here in St. Louis. So I know, again, we've got some big news with the Blues to talk about this week, but this is actually really cool. And I'm going to do my best to go to at least 2 games here in that weekend. So I recommend, anyone who's interested in seeing the prospects play, that will be really cool to have it actually here in St. Louis. You guys think you'll be able to make any of those games?
What dates here? 13th, 14th,
Friday the 13th through Sunday the 15th.
Of course, it's on Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, everybody wants
and that's
to
Blues
hang
and
out with
Blackhawks.
Goalie masks.
Fuck the Blackhawks. Fuck
Friday
the Wild, too.
13th.
Yep.
What do I got going on? Maybe. I am, the 13th, probably not, but the 14th, maybe.
Yep. Well, 14th is, it says the Blues practice that day, but it looks like the Wild don't have any practices at all that day. So I think that's incorrect.
Yeah.
But because it's the Blackhawks and Wild that night. So I would think that means the Wild practice at 10:30.
Yeah, I probably can't. My as busy as my schedule is, my daughter's is worse. So so anything I want to do that attend that she is in just doubles up my schedule too. So we'll see. I might be able to make some one day there.
Doug Paddock says, I want to try and make the 2 Blues games. Don't really care about the Wild Blackhawks. And yeah, I get that. I think that'll be the least attended game, but still it's cool if you watch these because we used to always tune into the Traverse City games. And, it was always fun to try and because there's sometimes there's fights, it's a real game. So
you were right for a while. You went back.
Did I get it wrong?
You can't keep being right.
God damn it.
Traverse City. Just say it. Just pretend you have a little bit of a Southern accent. Traverse City.
Traverse City.
Yeah.
All right. I'll try to remember that.
I think that's why.
Who cares? I
Detroit.
should have just ended it the first time I said it. I should
quit while you're ahead.
Again. Yep. What was I thinking?
You're not allowed to say that anymore on
just
the show.
Just
right.
refer to it as the Michigan one.
I'm just gonna call it T City. How about T City?
T City.
All right.
Hey, speaking of T words, do you just off topic before we cut into commercial? I guess toast ravioli. Do you say T ravs?
No.
Bill?
I say toasted ravs.
What, Bill?
I say toasted ravs.
Occasionally, I will.
Okay. But
Like,
you are familiar with the term T-Revs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but you don't use it, Jeff?
No, because
Okay.
well, I have a friend named Travis that I call T-Rav. So if I were to say T-Ravs, I feel like I would like instantly picture him
Okay.
in a bowl,
Okay.
and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that.
All right. Amy's daughter finds it strange and annoying that I call them T-Revs. Toast ravioli.
So
Really?
to call them toasted ravioli.
I mean, I won't order them as T-Ravs.
I don't
But
know.
if we're talking about like, hey, we're gonna order from Wood and Nickel this weekend,
Get some T-Revs.
some T-Ravs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. Okay.
That's good.
Anyway, proceed. Just wanted to, while we're on T-words.
I didn't know we were on T-words, but okay.
Traverse City.
Oh, stop it.
T-Rav
All right.
City. It's T-Rav City. That's what it is now.
T-Rav City. All right, I'll
Yeah,
call it that.
Trav.
I'm good with that.
I mean, the first 4 letters.
I'm good with that. All right. Well, when we come back, we will talk about the news that the hockey world is abuzz about with our St. Louis Blues and the Edmonton Oilers. As soon as we get back from this break, you are listening to Jeff, Kurt, and Bill on Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the pedal down.
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Flip past the Hall. He shoots. He scores.
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Well, honey, I just priced the power washing for the house, and I think we should just move and condemn this place. It'll be cheaper.
Did you try Wolf Power Washing?
Who?
Oh, I just saw this guy win the Stanley Ponder Cup Memorial Tournament and thought he was attractive, so I looked him up on social media, and it turns out he's the owner and proprietor of Wolf Power Washing. He claims he has the best prices in town.
But does he use non-flammable, non-toxic chemicals that are safe for Woofy and our son, Little Magnus?
Yes, he ensures there'll be no residue left behind, and he doesn't use any volatile vapors.
Well, this fella sounds like a dream. I just wish I knew how to contact him.
Oh, I know how. You can reach him at 314-420-5434.
314-420-5434, and his name is Joe Wolf of Wolf Power Washing?
That's right.
But how did you know his number so quickly?
I'll never tell.
Wait, what?
That's Wolf Power Washing at 314-420-5434. And make sure to tell them Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
All right, well, let's talk about the big news here, guys. The Blues signed the Joseph brothers. Let's talk about that, and then we'll end the show. I'm just kidding. We already did that. Bill and I did that a couple weeks ago. What's that, Bill?
I just found it funny, like how JR sat on that article for a couple of weeks before he released it because he knew it was going to be a slow season.
Yep.
At least that's what I took from it.
Oh, 100%. Trust me, as a former media member, that is what we do. We find stories that we can sit on for the summer months. So 100%. All right, the Blues. Oh, more appropriately, Doug Armstrong tendered offer sheets to
And
Edmonton's.
And Steen.
Yeah, well, yeah,
We'll
but I
throw
mean,
Steen in there too.
I'm sure it was Steen involved. Yes, 100%. Phil Broberg is a Swedish player. They tendered offer sheets to Edmonton's Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. The St. Louis Blues president of hockey operations, general manager Doug Armstrong, announced today that they did this. I already announced that. I shouldn't have read that. The Oilers have 7 days to exercise their right of first refusal on each of the players per section 10.3 of the NHL collective bargaining agreement. The offer to Broberg for a 2-year contract is at $4.58 million per year. The maximum offer that will require a second-round pick as compensation. The offer to Holloway is for a 2-year contract at $2.29 million per year. The maximum offer that will require a third-round pick.
Holloway is 4.58.
No, that is Broberg, sir.
I'm looking at
Broberg is 4.5. Holloway is 2.29.
Holloway agreed to terms on an offer sheet with the St. Louis Blues on Tuesday worth 4.5. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Thank you.
I was looking at the numbers switched up here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see. To satisfy the required compensation of the offer sheets, should Edmonton choose to decline their right of first refusal, the Blues have completed a trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins to reacquire their second-round pick in 2025, which was acquired via the Kevin Hayes trade, and acquire Pittsburgh's fifth-round selection in 2026. The Penguins received St. Louis's second-round pick in 2026 and Ottawa's 2025 third-round selection, which was acquired via trade. I don't remember what trade that was, but I don't know if it was that wasn't the Kevin Hayes trade too, was it? Who knows? Who cares? Anyway, that's not the most important thing. What's important here is, again, the Blues tendered offer sheets to players, which we have not seen much of. Last one Bill could speak to was Jesperi Kotkaniemi, that I think I just butchered his name. Kotkaniemi. Kotkaniemi.
There you go. You got it.
Me know that not real money.
Yvonne played defense. Sorry. I don't know if anybody gets that reference, but
the swap of picks with Pittsburgh. Now, I didn't hear about any of this until after the offer sheet thing was announced.
Yeah,
so
me too.
So do you know how long before the offer sheet the Blues had on the Oilers? How long before that the Pittsburgh trade was announced? Because if it was announced, if there was any kind of a window at all, a gap there, people are like, why the fuck are the Blues doing that?
There was a very small gap. It was like literally maybe at most an hour. I don't even think it was that long.
I did see our friend Eric over on Teal Town USA. He saw the Pittsburgh and Blues trading the picks, and he's like, what? Why would St. Louis do this? And then somebody replied back very shortly after. I was like, well, this is why. So,
yeah,
they needed those picks to be able to offer sheet. So,
well, and that's what that was the thing I did see a couple people say like, what the fuck? Why are they reacquiring a pick they just traded?
And you're giving away
funny.
You're giving away a second and a third for a second.
You have to wonder if Doug Armstrong was telling, Pittsburgh's GM, former Toronto guy, right?
Kyle Dubas.
Kyle Dubas. If when he was calling him to make this trade, if he literally had to tell him, like, I need that pick back because I'm going to offer sheet someone. Don't worry, it's no one from Pittsburgh, but I'm going to offer sheet someone. I need that pick back. I wonder if that was part of the conversation.
Yeah,
that's a great question for somebody to ask Armstrong after this whole thing. Over. Because let's say, in a week we get one or both of the players or whatever, and I'm sure Armstrong will do a press conference, and someone needs to ask him what happened, what was the conversation like with Pittsburgh to make these offer sheets possible, because they had to have their second round pick back.
Because if he just called Dubas and was like, I want to make this trade, here's what I'm proposing. Dubas was like, what the fuck? You just traded me this pick. Why do you want it back so bad?
Well, it had to end with Armstrong saying, because we're gonna fuck Stan Bowman.
Well, I mean,
that's what I hope too.
I mean, it shouldn't have been a very long conversation at all. Any team offers you a second and a third for a second and a fifth, you're like, well, okay. I mean, that's fine.
It depends on the strength of draft, but I think typically most people would agree with you. Yes.
Right. And
what I'm saying is that you're getting a second and a third, and you're giving up a second and a fifth. So it's like, and that's what next. That's next season. What are the picks? What years are the picks? They're not all
Well,
next season, are they?
Well, that's why.
Well, the second
no,
is.
no, and that's why I'm saying it depends on strength of draft because the
I
second
don't even
round
think it
pick
does.
the Blues acquired was their second round pick from 2025, which is next
Right,
year.
right,
They
I
need
know.
that to do this.
I know.
And then the
But
pick they sent is their 2026 second round pick.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Doesn't this also satisfy the future considerations part of the Kevin Hayes trade?
That's a great call. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that was him being like, "Hey, I need my favor back right now." Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, because you never hear what those future
never do.
considerations are.
No.
And I blame the media. They never follow up on that shit. Ever.
I might text JR and tell him, "Hey, you need to ask if that was the future considerations with Pittsburgh."
Yeah.
I hate to say it because he's a reporter. He knows what to ask, but it's never asked.
Well, ask him that and ask him if he disclosed to Dubas that the offer sheets were going to be coming towards Bowman and Edmonton.
Yep. Matt MLO 12 says 100% Dubas was in the know, and I agree. I really think that was a conversation that he said, like, listen, and I don't know if he told him what team or what players even, but I'm sure he had to say, like, listen, I need that pick back because I'm going to make an offer sheet. And Dubas was probably like, oh shit, okay, I'll sit back and watch this.
Well, they can't. I mean, if he did tell him, then you gotta have your offer sheet shit ready to go, because what if Dubas tells Bowman and then
and that's why I'm thinking he already had these talks with the agents of these players before he called Dubas. Like, if I can get this second round pick, are you interested in signing in St. Louis? So I bet that's how the course went. He talked to the player agents first, then called Dubas, then officially signed the contracts.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
So
for anyone interested who don't know anything about the RFA, restricted free agent offer sheet compensation, basically if it's 1.5 million or less, there's no compensation needed. 1.5 to 2.29, which that is the range, the very high end of it. There's a third round pick compensation, and that was for Holloway. 2.29 to 4.58. That is the second round pick compensation, which is Broberg. And then anything above that, you're talking first and third round picks, first, second, and third round picks, 2 firsts, depending on the price. So yes, I do think, and let me ask you guys your thoughts on the actual payment of these players. I do think it's an overpayment for both these players. But I think that was part of the intention. If he's signing both these guys to $1.5 million matching deals, Edmonton can turn around and make one trade and be able to match that.
Yep.
He had to overpay to make this happen.
Right. And this is a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity, because when was the last time the cap went up like this? When was the time the Blues had the space? Right. And this is the one time you can really acquire, from an asset acquisition standpoint, you're able to pay for 2 first round picks at short-term overpaid contracts.
Just money.
But it's just money.
Yeah, well, and the picks for compensation, but yeah, you're not giving up anything off your roster, or in minors or big league club. So that's big. I mean, and you're getting you conceivably could get 2 guys that could really help this team depth wise. So I mean, it's a no brainer. And I agree with Winning Unlimited in the chat. What if Dubas offers offer sheets first? I don't think Armstrong told him. Armstrong may have said he's got something working that Dubas maybe could have figured out. Now, why would he want his second round pick back? Well, he would need it if he would offer sheet somebody. So maybe that's it. But I don't think he told him details at all.
I do think that conversation was had, but I agree. I don't think it was like, I'm going after Edmonton's Broberg and Holloway. I think it was like, listen, it's obvious what I want this for. It's not for one of your players. I just want to make this trade. And I think that was kind of the extent of the conversation.
Can you imagine if it was one of Pittsburgh's players and they gave the Blues the pick for that? Oh my God.
Nobody would ever answer Doug Armstrong's calls ever again.
That would be the most sinister thing ever.
Right.
Oh my God.
And I Justin Scott's comment here, it's an overpay, but the Blues have the money to do it. When was the last time we said that? The Blues have always been a cap team. And Bill, you and I talked in July after the free agent frenzy kind of died down about, well, the Blues still have, what is it, $8 million in cap dollars? And we're like, maybe this is just the Blues saying, we know we're not going to make the playoffs this year. If we do, it's a bonus, but let's save some money in the process. But we both kind of said, that doesn't really feel like Doug Armstrong, right? And now we're seeing what I don't know if he was planning this in July, but I think it gave him the option to say, maybe I can offer sheet someone down the line if I need to.
Well, he was asked about that last month in an interview about possible offer sheets, and he said it's something that they may pursue. You know how he is. He doesn't really give anything away, but he doesn't really never denies anything either.
Yep. Casey Gorak over on Facebook says, missed the whole band together. I'm guessing he's talking about us. I can't imagine he's talking about anyone else. So that means you hate the summer shows and hate me. I'm cool with that. No, it is good. It is good. I love having these fellows join me for shows like this because there's a lot of, as I said, a lot of pontificating going on for shows like this. So in the off season,
and you know what, the overpay, it's not for 6 years; it's 2 years. So I mean, and it's not a massive overpay either. So it's like, even if you're overpaying, but like has been discussed, you have to do that to make an offer sheet work. Otherwise, it's too easy for the team to re-sign, right? To match, and then it's only for 2 years. So
well, and here's the thing to think about
handcuffed
too, is the fact that it's not handcuffing the Blues in the short term, as you said. It's only 2 years for each player. It would be handcuffing Edmonton.
Yes, well,
because Draisaitl is up for free agency next year.
They're over right now.
McDavid is up for free agency the year after that. Philip Bouchard, not Phil, Evan Bouchard is he's up for RFA, I believe, next season.
Right.
So it's like and that is why it was done. It was such a master stroke to me by Armstrong, because to the Blues, this is nothing. If both these players turn out to suck, okay, you're playing them for 2 years on a team that really isn't expected to do anything in the playoffs. But Edmonton, it fucks them because they can't afford, as you said, they're $7.23 million over the cap already. You sign these guys, first of all, you can't, because you can only go 10% above the cap in the offseason. So they have to make a trade in the next 6 days to make it even work. And if these two guys suck, that's hurting your chances of re-signing Draisaitl next summer.
Now, the Kane move to LTIR, can they do that right now? Or they have to wait, don't they? They have to wait until the season starts.
I'm pretty sure they can.
Don't they? Can they?
No,
okay.
I was of the same impression as Kirk that that LTIR doesn't matter during the summer because that's an active thing. So
I read somewhere they can, but it doesn't give them the full cap relief. Yeah. It only gives them a percentage. But I could be wrong on that.
Okay, so whatever it is, though, if they move Kane to LTIR and they get partial relief, then that will could allow them to keep one of the players. And match one of the players.
And I'll be honest, in terms of blue, okay, so
it should be Holloway, right? They couldn't do Broberg.
Let me ask you guys, if they could, let's say they make it work and they could keep one, either one, doesn't matter. Which one do you want the Blues to have?
Broberg.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think for just what the team needs right now, I'd love to get a young left-handed defenseman on this team.
Right.
I'd love it.
That when you put the assets at their position in there, my initial read was that's pairings, and so you had him top pair, and I could totally believe that with the rest of this Blues left-handed decor.
Kane can go on LTR at any time, but according to Edmonton Oilers Reddit. But it's better to wait for the official start of the season. The mathematical equations to determine your overcap allowance is different during the offseason. So,
yes, because it's 10%. You're allowed to go 10% over in the offseason.
Right.
That's why. So which obviously they can't. I don't even think they can keep Holloway at 2.29 because they're already 10% over the cap. So again, they have to make a move. And we got some great comments here from, here it is, Doug Paddock in our YouTube chat. He says, Friedman said Broberg was looking for 1.8 and Holloway 1.2. They should have signed them for their asking price and then not sign one of Henrik Skinner or Arvidsson on the first day of free agency.
Yeah.
100%. This is why I am all for offer sheets becoming more of a thing in the NHL, because you know that the Oilers were like, well, hey, these guys are restricted free agents. As long as we figure this out before October 1st, we're good. We're cake. So just go ahead and sign these guys on free agency, because offer sheets are such a rarity. But this is a masterstroke again by Armstrong.
Two offer sheets.
Two
Right.
offer sheets.
Yeah.
Like, such a dick move, but I love it.
No,
Give me more of this every summer.
I was saying it's like the most punk rock thing you can do in the NHL, and Armstrong pulled it off perfectly. Like one of the most straight-laced guys in the league. I love it. But on the Edmonton side of it, right? There's talk. So it's really Jeff Jackson, who's their CEO, and he was the interim GM after Ken Allen left, and he's the one that went on the fucking spending spree, signed 13 fucking players on July 1st, and didn't take care of this business first, right? And so I Edmonton Oilers Reddit and other places on the internet were talking about how he's trying to throw Holland under the bus for he had an opportunity to sign them both back in January and he didn't. Well, you had an opportunity to sign them before you signed 13 other dudes and you didn't. And then you went and you hired one of the most hated men in hockey to be your GM.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to love this move.
Yes.
By Armstrong.
This is totally speculation. We don't know. But I really honestly hope that the boys club of the NHL, and that does include Armstrong, all were like, Stan's back. What the hell? Somebody actually signed him. And it's like, guys, let's take advantage of this fucking shit show in Edmonton. Like, I really hope there was a conversation like that. And it does make me wonder, going back to the Dubas conversation, if Doug Armstrong was like, hey, remember what we talked about when Stan Bowman was signed as the GM at Edmonton? I want to fuck him over. So why don't you help me out? Okay, sure. Like, I don't think that's actually what's happening, but in my mind, I love to play that through my head.
I don't either, because what Armstrong did was so sinister and sneaky. I don't think he wanted to tip off anybody else what he was doing until he did it. Just because somebody else might do it, to give them an idea, that whoever might have cap space, because GMs talk. I'm sure.
Well, and you just use the words, the adjectives, sinister and sneaky. By standards, by NHL standards, yes, that's what this was. But to me, it is well within their right.
Oh, sure.
Blues did nothing wrong. I don't know you agree.
I love it.
But
I love it.
And it's just, to me, it's like, this is part of the game, like in game of being a GM. Like, the fact that this is so underutilized in the NHL is crazy to me. Like, and Kurt, you mentioned before the show started, the crazy Oilers fans that are just losing their minds over this. And it's like, I've literally seen people say, oh, what a dickhead Doug Armstrong is. He's going to get payback, and that you can't do that to another GM. And I'm just like, this is not an illegal thing. Like, this is completely, people talk about the cap situation with the playoffs. This is no different. It's actually even more legal than that.
Right. And so the whole retribution thing on offer sheets, it has a precedent, right? Mm-hmm. It was the who acted first was the Canucks signed Backus and the Blues matched it. So the Blues went out and signed who was it? Bernier?
Steve Bernier. Yep.
Yeah.
So Armstrong retaliated.
Sure.
And then
which is great. I love that.
Bergevin signed Aho to an offer sheet, and Carolina matched it. And then when Bergevin's pants were down around his ankles, they came back and offer sheeted Kotkaniemi, and they had to let him go.
Yeah, and
that was pure retribution.
I love that whole cloak and dagger, whatever you want to call it. I love the whole back and forth. Oh, you tried to fuck me? Okay, I'll fuck you. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. It's part of the game. Every team's trying to win, and if another team is getting better and you're not, well, if you can offer sheet them and fuck them over, and even if they have to match the offer and it puts them in a cap bind and they got to get rid of somebody, you're screwing with their roster. You're messing them up. So I love it. It's such it's a cool part of the game, GM wise, that is, like you said, Jeff, it's underutilized, and I hope it gets used more often, because I've said this on the show 1,000 times. Give me all the chaos and all of it. It makes for such good conversation, especially at this time of year when there's nothing going on. It's dead. Give me all of the offer sheets.
Oh, this is dominating all hockey talk.
Yeah.
Like, this is everywhere. I saw it on a Canucks forum that people were talking about this, and I'm just like, that's what this is. And Justin Scott right here, I love this comment here. He says, talk to Kurt about this, but Edmonton fans want them to do that with Hofer and Neighbors, but they're delusional if they think Armstrong will let those two guys get to that point. I agree, but the point is here too, because they're restricted free agents next season. Edmonton is not going to be able to do that. Right. They're in a win now mentality. You're telling me, and I'm not saying you, Justin, but I'm saying the Oilers fans, you're telling me that they are going to get back in this cat and mouse game when they're trying to win now and re-sign Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard? It's not going to happen. They don't have the capital for it.
They don't have to have the cap room if they really have no intention of actually signing the players, if they think that Armstrong will match. You know what I mean? Like, force Armstrong to go higher than he wants to. That's a dangerous game to play.
But
as long as they have the draft pick to compensate if the Blues don't match.
But they won't have the cap room, and the Blues will. That's the story too.
I know, but I'm saying is that if Edmonton says, well, you know what, you offer sheet our players, we'll offer sheet yours. We know you're going to match, but we're going to make you pay more than you want to. That's what I'm getting at.
Right.
Or you let Edmonton take them, put them in further cap hell, and then you say, well, you're going to have to give us somebody because you guys are fucked.
Well,
I hear that Draisaitl guy's pretty nice.
No way they would deal with us though. So but I love the whole. This is so much more interesting than GMs being pussies and never doing offer sheets. This is fantastic. Love it.
It's so hard for me to even read this comment.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
No, I'm going to read it because it's hilarious. Matt MLO12 says, Oilers girl slapping both titties in frustration. Very well done, sir. And Doug Paddock, again, another good comment from him. So many little details to make this almost perfect. Offer sheeting both, waiting till after arbitration so Oilers can't trade for arbitration player and get a second buyout window. Brilliance. Yeah, this... Again,
and the one was it
$1?
$1 shy of it being a first round draft pick compensation.
1 cent.
1 cent. Yeah. Yeah.
Literally 1
so
cent.
Like, so even if Edmonton were to get picks out of it, they wouldn't get first round picks. So yeah.
It's just, I've said it twice, but it's a master stroke. Mm-hmm. This is, to me, like, we've talked about some great moves that Doug Armstrong has made in his time as a Blue. And yes, and we've all said he's made some terrible ones. Kasperi Kapanen. But I and by the way, doesn't that make that Kasperi, like, if this works out, it's like, and then all the other signings he's made and trades he's made, it's like Kapanen is not going to make this team, right? No. He's an AHL player at this point.
Kapanen, if we want to talk about poor Armstrong moves, Kapanen's not up there for me. I mean, that's a minor player. To me, it's like the
we
moves.
We didn't have to pay anything for him, right? So
right.
It's just the ongoing salary commitment.
The big moves that just didn't work out. The fall and the Krug and not re-signing Pietrangelo, and it just the big stuff that just didn't work out in our favor. That at the time they happened, Getting Krug at that time, was he a Pietrangelo? No. Is he a nice consolation prize? Yes. At the time, yeah, he was a good consolation prize. Falk at the time was for Edmonton. Fuck yeah, it was a good signing. But good move. But those didn't work out as they had hoped, and based on the contract structure, it kind of has handcuffed us defensively, and it's hurt this team. So, I mean,
in terms of signing contracts, now we could go back. He's been GM now 12 years, 14 years for the Blues, however long it's been. This to me has got to rank top 5. Even if these two players do sign here in St. Louis and they don't work out, to me, it's still a master signing because you're fucking over a cup contender at this point. And add in the fact it's fucking Stan Bowman, who should not even be back in the NHL ever. Some people don't deserve second chances. This is fantastic. Everything about this makes me so happy.
Yeah, and Matt MLO, right? Matt MLO 12. Getting two first round players for a second and third is savage. Yeah, I mean if we do get both players, which who knows, probably not, but we'll see. But if we do 2 first round picks for a second and a third, yeah, I mean if you keep making those moves over and over and over again, it's bound to work out.
I did see, and I've said this in the past, I did see somebody say, there's Armstrong losing draft picks again. And I'm like, but in this situation, you are getting 2 very recent first-round picks, and you're not losing a upcoming first-round pick. Right. To me, that's worth it. 100% worth it.
One of those is a top 10 pick, which we haven't had since Alex Pietrangelo. Not saying...
What was Dvorsky? Was he a 10?
He was 10. Yeah. But yeah.
So let's say top 9.
Yeah. Single digit. But and I'm not trying to say that Broberg's going to be Pietrangelo, but we haven't drafted as high as Broberg was picked, and you were able to get him for, a great story and, offer sheet money that doesn't jeopardize your cap or your immediate future. It's brilliant.
There were some Edmonton fans on social media, which take with a grain of salt. They felt Broberg was their second best defenseman.
Oh yeah. I watched a lot of their playoff run, and I think when the playoffs went down the stretch, he was their second best defenseman, 100%.
He's only played 81 games in his career, so he doesn't have a ton of games under his belt. But yeah, he played well for them. So.
Yeah, and yes, he's young, he's fresh. So yeah, I'm sure his eyes were wide open, like a deer in headlights when his agent called him and said, "Hey, the Blues are offering you $4.5 million." And he's probably like, can we sign that yesterday?
That's 3 times? No. Yeah, about 3 times what he was asking for, right?
Yeah. So he was asking for 1.4.
And being a cup team, a cup contending team, Edmonton, they could have easily won the cup last season, but they didn't work out. But they always say how hard it is to keep a cup team together because of contracts expiring, players need increases because they're playing well, the team's doing well, they have to get traded or let go, and overpaying depth players when you've got your high end guys coming up to resign. Oof, that's rough. For Edmonton, this deal has so many levels as far as how it fucks over Edmonton different ways and why it's just so great for the Blues. It's just it's fun to talk about. Fascinating stuff.
Yep. Justin Scott adds Broberg has already requested out of Edmonton once. Yeah, he did not like his playing time. I believe it was at the start of this last season. And he requested a trade out of Edmonton. And then obviously, was used a lot in the playoffs. Holloway is also, a very young player that has not played a ton in the NHL. But again, I think this is why you have pro scouts. Like, I'm not saying that the Blues, last season were like, scouts were like, you got to acquire these 2 guys. I'm sure it was a situation where Doug Armstrong was looking around the league, and, I'm sure Alexander Steen again as well. And they said, who's available right now? And then they called the pro scouts who scouted the Edmonton games and said, what do you think of these two guys? Yeah, they got upside. Do it. I mean, so that's the beauty of having scouts around the NHL to be able to kind of confirm, I'm sure, what the GM and assistant GM were saying. And yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, again, I don't know much about Holloway, but when I've seen a Broberg, I am hoping the Blues get him. I think he'll be a great fit here.
It's interesting because, well, with cap friendly down, so I use Puckpedia now, but so they've got Edmonton's projected or current cap space right now because they've got the offer sheet values for Holloway and Broberg on Edmonton's roster. So that right now they have a current cap space of negative. They are $7,225,000 over the cap right now. Yep. So and they have a week, but so the talk is about putting Kane on LTIR. He makes 5.125. So they're still over.
Yeah.
If with waiving putting Kane on LTIR by like $2 million.
Boy, so, the fans of Edmonton bitching even more now about Darnell Nurse's contract is pretty hilarious. Because we know we've been there. Oh, yeah. Armstrong's made some terrible signings.
Here's the thing,
and
though.
It's just $9 million for that guy.
I mean, if you want to talk about you people are upset about the Blues and their defensive issues. Krug and Falk, they're $6.5 million.
Yep.
The Nurse is 9.25.
Yeah,
that's quite a bit more. That's a whole pretty good defenseman more.
I think Nurse picked his game up a little bit in the Stanley Cup final, but man, I watched him a lot in the third round and a lot in the early part of the final, and he looked awful. And I'm
when he got better?
Yeah. How many
he was
times
paired with Broberg?
Yep. How many times did I say to myself, I would love to count, oh my God, that guy's making $9 million. I must have said that 5 or 6 times.
One of my favorite things that I saw out there on Twitter today was, I guess this means Darnell has to play more.
Oh God, good luck, Edmonton.
What a disgusting thought for those guys.
So we've mentioned a couple times what Edmonton fans have been saying. I don't know if you guys saw the Facebook group that I sent you in Slack, but I did see some really, and you're going to get, and I don't want to just brag on Edmonton fans, but because you're going to get this with Blues fans too, and stuff like this happens. One of my favorite comments I saw was somebody saying that it is unfair that teams are allowed to sign offer sheets to 2 players from the same team. It is unfair because how are you supposed to figure out your cap issues when you have another team coming in and offering more money to players than they're worth? And I'm like,
file that under the not my problem.
I was going to say, to me, I'm looking at like the NHL didn't impose a cap issue on you.
Yeah.
Your management made those cap issues.
Every team has the same rules.
How is that anyone else's fault?
Every team has the same rules. If you can't manage your cap and you can't get your own shit in order, that's your own fault. And a team is going to swoop in and pluck something from you. They could, and the Blues are trying to do that with 2 players. So Edmonton fans have nobody to blame but Edmonton management for this. They could have prevented this. They did not. They sat on it, and the Blues are jumping on it. And it's comically to me. I saw a comment that said, all you gotta do is put Kane on LTIR, waive Perry, and then you can sign both. I'm like, I don't think you can. That doesn't give you enough money.
No,
Perry makes 1.15, and Kane makes 5, so that's 6.2. Say 6.3. They need more than that.
And even if you do that solves now. But what about next year? Again, when you have Bouchard and Draisaitl to sign, like. That's too much money to be paying 2 guys who truly are kind of unproven at this point.
I guess if you're going 10% over the cap and the limit's 88 now? That's close. I guess that's close for now. If they waive Perry and they can get rid of his salary and then put Kane and LTIR, I still think they're short.
So I think this is our friend Michael here, Michael Hebert from the Heavy Hockey Network. He says Edmonton has also made it into the playoffs without Broberg, which is true. Broberg did not play a lot during the season, and their turnaround was crazy, as we all talked about before. But yeah, they didn't have Broberg for most of that. So really, they could live life without Broberg because, like I said, they are in a win now mentality. But to me, and Michael, feel free to refute me here, I don't think the defense is as good without Broberg in the playoffs. Once the playoffs started and he was playing, and again, like Bill said, Darnell Nurse started getting minutes with Broberg and all of a sudden was playing better. I think that was a major difference in Edmonton being able to play better defense down the stretch.
Here's the thing, too. Edmonton in the upcoming 25 draft does not have a first or second round pick. So if they do get a second round pick from the Blues for one of these players, then that's a pick that they could have that they don't currently have in the second round. So, I mean, it's not like they already have a second round pick, but they would have a pick in that round. So maybe a little bit of incentive to not jump through too many hoops to sign these players.
Heavy Hockey Network again, I'm going to guess this is our friend Michael. He says, from an Oilers viewpoint, it'll suck to lose both first rounders for a couple of picks. But in my humble opinion, it is a massive overpayment for a guy that's played 23 total NHL games last season. Yeah, and that's the point
we talked about.
I think that's the point, is that the Blues can afford to overpay. The Oilers cannot. So that's why this was done by Armstrong to ensure that the Oilers can't, because they don't have any flexibility with the cap. Clearly, they're way over right now.
And that's why it offered, and it was talked about before, offer sheets don't really work unless you overpay. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's and the Blues have the cap room. So and again,
like you 2 years.
Kurt, it's not a 6-year thing. It's like it's just 2 years. You're overpaying for a couple of years. You're not handcuffing yourself long term.
And again, this isn't a Blues team that is going to be going for a Stanley Cup next season. Let's face it. So for the Blues, this is a rebuild season still. And so they're like, yeah, we overpay this guy for 2 years. If he doesn't work out in 2 years, Snuggerud's here. Kessel is a veteran NHL defenseman at this point. They probably got a guy like Juracek that's maybe making his debut in the NHL. So at this point in 2 years, if he doesn't work out, he doesn't work out. It's fine. But the Oilers don't have that luxury because they are in a win now. So again, I just think this is such a beautiful move by Armstrong.
I would imagine, I mean, with Bouchard and Cody Ceci being UFA and RFA after this season, you would think that maybe Edmonton was going to do some kind of 1-year bridge contract for Broberg, and they could give him more money if one of those players comes off the books after the season. I'm just spitballing as far as like maybe what Edmonton would be doing with a contract for Broberg if the Blues didn't offer sheet them. So
yep, yeah, and did you guys see the rumors that apparently again these are unconfirmed reports that last season I think it was at the trade deadline that the Blues, I guess, had already been eyeing Holloway and Broberg, and they basically offered Buchnevich in a trade for those two. Again, unconfirmed reports, but that is interesting to me if that's really the case, that Edmonton turned that trade down, because now they might lose those guys just for a couple draft picks as opposed to a guy that could really help them in a win now mentality.
Yeah. I mean, he would cost a lot more than, they'd have cap issues if they had. Was this last year? Well, I mean, they would have had to sign Buchnevich, right? So I mean,
well, you got to figure they would not. If they would have had Buchnevich, they would not have gone and signed, 13 players in free agency.
They wouldn't have
Arvidsson
acquired
wouldn't be
Henrique
there.
at the deadline.
Yeah, they wouldn't have gotten Henrique. Arvidsson wouldn't be there. Skinner wouldn't be there. So they'd have a little bit more cap flexibility, I guess. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing Booch's name or Broberg, at least Broberg's name thrown around in Booch trade rumors last year. So, yeah, if there was any truth to that, yeah, that's got to be an extra little bit of sting in the salt in the wound right now.
And Heavy Hockey Network again covers the Oilers. Check them out, by the way, if you haven't already. Heavy Hockey Network, Oilers Live as well, to get their take on all this. Michael does an incredible job covering the Oilers and just hockey in general up there in Canada. But again, he says, again, I don't believe this hurts the Oilers short term, but I do believe it hurts as far as the future goes. And I 100% agree with that. I think, again, with the Oilers being in a win now mentality, I think even next season, this really doesn't hurt them because I don't think they consider, I don't think they even consider Broberg to be a number 2 defenseman, even after the good playoff he had. I do think that it makes them look and say, well, in 3-4 years, this could be an issue.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
And that's a problem for the new GM to step in and lose these two guys right away.
Well, that's what I was talking about with, because depending on what they do with Bouchard and Ceci after the season, when they're free agents, Bouchard's RFA and Ceci's a UFA, then whatever they do with Broberg as far as like a bridge contract to get him to, so then he would be a UFA or whatever in 25-26. They could sign him and depending on their cap situation then at the time, and then they would not sign one of those guys and give Broberg more money then. I don't know.
Yep. Very interesting. But yeah, from a Edmonton standpoint, I could see them making a move. And somebody said it earlier, it might have been Justin Scott in the chat. I don't see anyone wanting to help out Bowman. If he makes an offer that is just ridiculous for the other team, then yeah, they're going to take it. They're not going to be like, oh, I don't want to work with Stan Bowman. So I do think that's not the case, but I do think it will be hard to make a move, especially again with these free agents they just signed. You're not moving any of them. If you do that, it just makes you look like a terrible GM with your cap management. And then, you kind of look at the rest of your third and fourth liners. Who are you moving that's going to really move the needle? Again, you put Kane on an LTIR. That helps. That's not going to get the job done.
No, they got to. I mean, I would be interested. What Michael, right? Heavy Hockey Network.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think to have him on tonight. This would have been perfect.
I'd be curious to see his thoughts on offer sheets right now.
Michael, please, Michael. Let us know if you're having a show coming up at all. We would. I'd love to promote it for you. So, because I'm sure a lot of Blues fans would be interested to hear your take. So, please put in the chat there if you're planning on having a show anytime soon. Because I'd love your take on all of this. I think so unprecedented.
I think most NHL fans love this. It's interesting, right? That's the vibe you get from every other fan base except for Edmonton's right now, because it's happening to them. So obviously it kind of sucks, but for them. But generally speaking, if you remove yourself from the situation of Brewers being the team is kind of being fucked over here, I'd be curious to Michael's thoughts on how he feels about offer sheets and if he thinks there should be more of them and more GMs should use them.
I will say that I did see some that I'll take as intelligent conversation between Oilers fans that were like, why did they go out and sign all these guys in free agency when they didn't have Broberg and Holloway locked away? And it's like, I'm with you, Oilers fans. Heavy Hockey Network adds, end of the day, it's a business, gives us something to talk about. 100%.
Right.
Look at 32 Thoughts today from Elliot Friedman. We've mentioned it a couple times. Like, that show came out today and it was all Blues and Oilers talk.
It's a little more than something to talk about. It's the thing to talk about. And anytime you have like an offer sheet, like we talked about what happened with Montreal and Carolina. It's like that's just interesting stuff, and they're like, ooh, will there be retribution? Who's gonna get who back? And that's a soap opera story that is interesting to me. And it's just, I mean, obviously being a Blues fan, it's we're kind of sitting pretty on this one. Either we get a player or two, or nothing, and we'll wait to see if there's payback. So it's if other teams do it, you're just kicking back. Your team's not involved. It's just fun to see how it plays out. And let's be honest. I mean, a lot of the hockey world is like, oh, what happened to Bowman? Good, right?
Yep. And I'll admit, again, as a Blues fan, I'm excited for the players possibly coming here.
Mm-hmm.
But that is number one for me. Fuck you, Stan Bowman. I am so glad to see you step into this role and instantly get fucked by another GM.
Yeah. That one of my favorite tweets of the summer was, or not necessarily individual tweets, but string of tweets that came out where, all the things about, and Edmonton has jumped to the top of the list of the most hated teams in hockey.
Yep. It's true.
Well, you got Bowman.
I hate to say it.
Corey Perry's on the roster too, right? So
yeah. And Vander Kane,
Vander Kane, right? Two villains.
I saw somebody say that Edmonton has become the home for like hated players and managers and coaches. And I mean, I guess maybe they'll hire Mike I can't even say his name. Mike Babcock in the middle of the season. Who knows?
I mean, why not, right? You're already down that road. Just keep going. I don't know.
Yep. No, again, sorry, Michael, great dude. I'll admit, when they signed Stan Bowman as their GM, I said, I hope you lose every goddamn game. I hope you lose every game. I hope nobody trades with you. I hope McDavid and Draisaitl walk until that asshole is out of the job, because he should not be back in the NHL.
Jeff woke up and chose violence today. Michael at Heavy Hockey Network says, as any Blues fan knows, we want one cup right now. If we get more, the gravy. That's why this doesn't bother me so much. Broberg is very unproven. The deadline is when it all matters. No, I mean, and if they do go out and win the cup this season, I'm sure they don't give two flying flips about this deal, right? That losing those a player or two. So, yeah, and we're with you. I mean, we got the cup in 19, and it's like everything else is gravy, right? It's like we can withstand some tough times ahead if whatever fallout comes from winning the cup. So it's
again the Facebook group that I shared with you guys earlier. That was one of the common themes I saw in comments saying, "Oh, that team is so far away from a Stanley Cup. Let them take Broberg and Holloway. Who cares? Like, we're gonna win a cup before they will." And then like there was even Oilers fans responding like, "They've won a cup pretty recently. How long has it been for us?" It's that's a good point.
And you know what? To be honest, I mean, things can shift. I mean, quicker than you think sometimes in the NHL too, just on how things fall and how players develop and what falls into your lap. So you never know as far as how quick your timeline is to being a cup contender again. Sometimes it's what you think it is, and sometimes, oh wow, we can fast track this a little bit.
I did meet Justin Scott at Prospect Camp, and he says, I'm glad Jeff didn't choose violence when he met me at Prospect Camp. Yeah, you were there with your lovely sister. I would never choose violence in front of a lovely lady like that. So make sure you share that, and I'll give you my number too. Pass it on to her. I'm just kidding. I love you, Justin. I'm just messing with you. But this show turned, huh? But yeah, at the end of the day, let me ask you guys, do you think the Blues get both players? Do you think they get one? Do you think they get nothing? Edmonton figures it out? What do you think?
To me, okay, if I'm Bowman, I'm a brand new GM in Edmonton, I would not want to lose these players as my first act, as GM. And this would be hanging on him for a while, right? So he's got. If I were him, I'd want to make a statement and say, no, we're not going to get fucked over. We're gonna keep one or both. We'll make some moves. We'll work it out. We'll put Kane and IR. Maybe we waive Perry, like somebody was suggesting, right? And do something else. I think they need to do something else besides that too, though. But they could. You can always free up money. You can always free up money. It just depends if they want to do it or not, and whether they want to overpay for Broberg and Holloway. I mean,
do you know where your children are?
I told you last night. No.
We are on it tonight. 10 right on the nose and 11 right on the nose.
Yep, we got it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's I would be shocked if we don't get at least one. Yeah. I think we get. I mean, Broberg's the guy you want, right? And it seems that that's the guy that we could probably get. Because they could maybe keep Holloway if they wanted to. He's going to cost less, but they've got to do some major roster restructuring.
Bill, I feel like Kanye here. Bill, we're going to get to you in a minute, but I want to read Doug Paddock's comment. He says, logically, I think we would get both. Realistically, I think we get one. History leans to us not getting either.
It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if Edmonton matches and we don't get anything. Wouldn't shock me at all. I'd be disappointed, but it'd be then interesting to see how Edmonton's going to pull it off too.
But again, I think the thing that people aren't considering is the fact that this is the Blues did this again, a master stroke. 2 years. You got to sign Draisaitl next year.
I know.
So they're really got to consider this. But Bill, please, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, Doug is channeling like the veteran Blues identity right there, right? This is what should be. This is what might be. This is probably what it is, right? Yeah, that's we've been history has taught us things, but no, I think ultimately where my gut feeling on this is that we wind up with just one of them, and I think it'll be Broberg.
And I'm with Kurt. I think that's the one the Blues really want.
Right.
And I think that's why he went after both, because he thought, we'll get the higher price guy, and they'll take the lower price guy.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you know what? You mentioned signing Draisaitl. I mean, you could always trade Draisaitl, and you get a haul for him. You know what I mean? Well, look at it this way. You would never trade Draisaitl to make room for Broberg and Holloway, right? You wouldn't do that. But just thinking in terms of, oh my gosh, they got to resign Draisaitl. Well, no, they don't. They could trade him and get a haul for him. So, and they could get a bunch of, I don't know, depending on what they could get, they might be deeper if they trade Draisaitl. I mean, obviously, the best teams with the best players do well typically. So you don't want to lose one of the best players in the NHL, but
they could get Roman Vopad, Dmitry Kristich,
a third round draft pick.
That's a deep cut, Blues fans. I hope you got that.
Craig Johnson.
Craig Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's I was thinking, kind of the other hilarious outcome from this could be that it's the Penguins that, the Oilers match and retain Broberg and Holloway both, and then have to do something with Draisaitl, and it's Kyle Dubas that lands them next year. That
and Draisaitl for Sidney Crosby and a second round pick.
Yeah. Edmonton fans should be pissed off at Pittsburgh too, because they're the enablers here. They're the ones that allowed the Blues to make the offer sheets in the first place. Without Pittsburgh, I mean, making a deal with the Blues, maybe some other team steps in and they make a deal, trading some picks. I guess any team could have done that. But no, actually, the Pittsburgh had. Yeah, right? Pittsburgh had the Blues pick.
Yeah.
So they had to get it back. Yeah.
The Blues. So
it's clear. So it had to be Pittsburgh. It had to be Pittsburgh.
It's clear that this is not something that Doug Armstrong was planning from day one, because he traded the pick that he needed to sign Broberg.
Right.
So he had to call Dubas and be like, I need that back now.
It had to be Pittsburgh.
Dixie's backsies.
So Edmonton fans should be like, you know what started this whole thing was Dubas agreeing to this. He could have nixed the whole thing.
This is a great question from Doug Paddock. He says, do you think this also pretty much confirms they believe Krug will need surgery? I said this in the show Bill and I did a couple weeks ago.
Right. When they
and I hate to say it again because I hate to see it happen for anyone. I think he might be done. Like
his career.
Arthritis issues like that. I mean, you don't really come back from that. So I could honestly see, as much as I hate to say it for him, Torrey Krug might not play another NHL game.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that sucks, right?
It does.
When you can't play anymore. But strictly speaking, from a roster perspective for the Blues, it makes, if that does indeed happen, it's a game changer because this is a contract that the Blues could not get rid of. They tried to, right? And they couldn't get. I mean, who knows what happens in the future? But they tried to get rid of it. They tried to get Krug to waive his no trade. They wouldn't do it. So they tried to move him. They tried to get rid of him. They couldn't. So, I mean, it sucks for him. I feel bad for him that his career may be over.
He was a serviceable player last year.
Yeah, no, and he was. He did.
Yeah.
His game was much better last year than the year before. I don't think he gets credit for it because once you've let down a franchise for a little while, you need to play better for a while. A couple of years before you're gain trust back. Bomeister is a good example, right?
Yeah. But if it is the end for him, maybe there's the, hey, why don't you go be our D coach, in Springfield, and when Weber's contract's up, you come back here. That's
maybe.
Can he do that while he's under? I mean, while he's technically, wouldn't he have to waive his rest of his money that he is owed?
I think it'd be an unofficial situation. I think he could do it, but they can't name him as a coach.
Because I don't think he's allowed. At least that's the way it is in baseball. I don't think you're allowed to take on another position while you're currently being paid as a player, technically, with you, because he's getting paid regardless.
Wait, what about Chris Pronger?
That's what I'm saying. Well,
he was getting front office money when he was still under contract with Arizona.
Wasn't he? Did he work for player safety when he was still on LTIR?
He was getting some kind of other gig money.
I mean, okay. I think baseball works that way. I guess maybe hockey doesn't. Because
I think it's a little different.
Because Pujols says like a 10-year contract with the Angels, right? After his career was over in the front office, and I think they would have to let him out of that contract if he were to take a job anywhere else. He can't.
He did take another job
with the Pujols.
Did you not see that? Yeah, didn't he? Didn't he just? Wasn't it just announced that he took some other position somewhere?
Not with the Angels. So the Angels let him out of his deal.
They released him from his deal, apparently.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
1-year contract after release from Angels. So he's working with the Dodgers.
So the Angels had to release him from his contract. Yeah. That's what I mean. So he'd have to, and the NHL may not work that way.
Yeah,
which I guess it doesn't. It probably doesn't because of the Pronger thing. And what's his name? The goalie for the Islanders that they're still paying. Surely he's DiPietro.
Yeah,
surely he's got a job somewhere else than NHL.
Yeah, he's done studio work last year.
Well, that's different, right? That's not within the organization, right? That's a you're getting paid by a. That's I'm talking about a job within like the NHL organizations.
I like this coming from Matt MLO 12. He says Krug does have that mad dog mentality. He would probably be a good coach. Yeah, every interview I've seen with him, it's clear he just loves to compete. So yeah, I agree. I think he'd be a great coach. So, but again, I don't think officially he can coach until he's retired. So, but okay. So let's talk real quick a little bit about the Blues depth chart, where they're at right now. If let's just say they get Holloway and they get Broberg. We'll have news on that in a week. But right now, I think you're looking at Holloway sliding in. He's a left wing. You're looking at him as sliding in as potentially a third line, fourth line guy. Clearly, you've got Buchnevich and Neighbors as your 1 and 2. Maybe even flipped with the way neighbors played last year. Saad, Holloway, and then of course you got guys like Bolduc, Dean, Nathan Walker that can step in. I think you're looking at a situation where Holloway's maybe switching between your third and fourth line, playing with the Radek Faksa and Alexander Texier, Alexei Toropchenko, Matthew Joseph. In terms of the forwards, it's interesting to see where he'll fit because, again, we talked about it, Bill, in our show a couple weeks ago when the Blues went out and got Faksa, Texier, Joseph, and it was like, man, now they're like kind of, there's a lot of weird issues. You got to figure out where a guy's slotted. Now you got Holloway in the mix too. It's interesting to see where these guys might end up in the roster.
I'm looking at the players here, and I keep forgetting about Dvorsky.
Yeah,
and you've got him listed here as top six, and I'm like, if he makes the top six out of camp, that's just great news because he's playing well. But I don't think last year at this time he was on the radar to make this team this coming season.
No.
So
he started over in Sweden, wasn't getting any time.
Right. And
they sent him to Sudbury.
Flourished over here.
Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs, and he took over the league.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Great reference, Bill. Good job.
So, but yeah, this roster is going to look, if we get both these players, right? I mean, in addition to the acquisitions we've already made and the players that might make the team out of camp that didn't last season, this is going to be a chunk different next season, which is a good thing.
Yeah, no, so when I look at all of those names put together, right, there's either going to be a hell of a lot of competition and good players aren't going to make this team, or there's going to be a trade.
Doug Paddock makes a nice little observation. If they get Holloway, I think that makes it a little harder for Dvorsky to make the team. I saw a pretty clear spot for Dvorsky without Holloway.
And this could be a situation where Armstrong literally says, we've got enough NHL talent here. Dvorsky, spend one more season kind of seasoning yourself and getting ready. You will be on this roster next year. I know Armstrong made the comment already that he could see Dvorsky on this team this season. But I think after these moves, and especially if Holloway's here, I agree. I think that's a situation where the Blues can say, you know what? We've got the roster we need. Why waste a year of his entry-level contract to play here? Let's just let him spend one more season, ripen, and then next year he will be a force as a rookie.
And whoever does get Holloway and Broberg cannot trade them for a year either. I don't know if that was mentioned or not, but they can't be moved for a year.
Yep.
So,
yeah, you're not moving Holloway at the trade deadline. That's not going to happen.
Nope.
So, yeah, interesting. I do still think Dvorsky has a chance to make this team. I also agree with Doug saying that there's a chance that Holloway is the reason Dvorsky doesn't.
More competition. I mean, it just
more
makes
competition.
Sense. It's more sense. Yeah.
And that's what you want. And right now we're looking at what do I have listed here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left wings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centers. And then I've got 5 right wings. I mean, there's a lot of forwards here. And that's why I said earlier, I think Kasperi Kapanen is the add mine out. I think he's your first call up in the AHL if you have a forward injury. I think Matthew Joseph makes this team, but I think Nikita Alexandrov, I think you might be an AHL player. Nathan Walker, as much as I love him in the NHL, I think he might be an AHL player. So, I don't think Bolduc and Dean both make this team.
Yeah, no, I don't think Dean does. I think Bolduc, if Bolduc has a decent camp, he's got to be here because he was strong at the end of last year. Dean started to get better at the end, but with all of these, the moves that were made this offseason, I think he's going to be the odd man out. I think Walker should start as the fourth line, on the fourth line with Sundqvist, because Sundqvist is going to be out for a while still, right? He had that pretty significant surgery. So their Armstrong teams are always going to err on the side of veterans, and he's our next, veteran guy that you would slot into the fourth line center. So
mark the tape, guys. 134 of the video, at least, of this show. Heavy Hockey Network, again, our resident Oilers expert. Bookmark this. Expect the Oilers to match Holloway and let Broberg walk. So
I think that's what most people are kind of leaning towards. Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
I think so, because Holloway's he's more affordable. So I
Yeah.
think you make that move if you're Edmonton.
And it's tough. Yeah, I mean, I mean, you can always free up salary, right? But it just depends what Edmonton wants to do for the next 2 years, I guess. So, yeah, and I'd be fine with that. I would love to get Broberg. And
Again,
I think that's our most glaring need.
I think that's why Armstrong signed both. I think he really seriously thought Holloway will probably get matched, but they cannot afford Broberg at that price.
Yeah. And yeah, so if they're gonna, maybe it's on purpose, right? Like you said, just to okay, well, we can't keep both, but we'll keep Holloway. As like Armstrong's like, yeah, I knew you would, so that's why I did that.
Mo, great comment here. Walker, good trooper at AHL level. Yeah, I just love Nathan Walker. I love having him on the team. He's such a little spark plug. But I look at this roster and I say, and I'm not saying this is, like, oh, this team's so fucking good. But I'm saying, looking at the skill ahead of him, I just think he's a call up from the AHL at this point, unfortunately.
It's tough because you never, ever see lack of effort from him. It's always out there busting his ass. Sometimes you may watching a game and you're like, come on, you're half-assing it. For half the game, put some effort in. Never say that with Walker ever. So that's and he creates things. I mean, he scores a handful of goals every season. He's around the net, making things happen. I like that. What's that like? He's a hustler.
What I would like to see, because we talked about possible trades, and actually I talked about this with I always want to call her Haley Joel Osmond. Haley Taylor Simon from the Locked On Blues show, and I had her on. Yeah. We talked about second line center. I do not like Braden Shen as your second line center. I think that is a glaring hole for the Blues. And we talked about who fits there. It's not Sundqvist. Maybe it's the young guy in Alexander Texier that they acquired. But again, I don't like that either. I don't think Zach Dean can fit in that role quite yet. I would like, if there is, and Fox is not that guy either. I think he's a solid third line center. But I think you do need, if there is a trade to be made to not to just lose salary and gain draft picks or whatever, but this trade to be made to make this roster better, I think it's got to be at your second line center. I think if you can find something there, and then that bumps Shen down to maybe even just a wing on the second line, would be better. I don't like him in the center role as a number 2 guy.
I agree, especially based on last season, because he really struggled last season. I think if I remember correctly, he was good down the stretch last season.
Yes, he was.
And he hit 20 goals, did he not?
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess at his age, he's 32. So this season's big for him, because last season was like a step down for him. So it's like, okay, is this the beginning of his decline? Last season, was that the beginning of his decline, or will he rebound this year and have another good couple of years before the decline starts? So was last year just a step down, like players have off years? So I think Shen has a lot to prove this season. So, and yeah, Shen was very inconsistent last season. Terrible. He was awful last year for the first half of the season at least. He was terrible.
Winning Unlimited says reacquire the struggling Tage Thompson. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
No. How much he just signed? How many years do you have in Buffalo?
I want to say. I don't want to say he signed a 7-year extension.
Yeah,
might have been 8.
He signed it. That went into effect last year.
I think so.
Or this year. Yeah, whatever it is, it's probably. And I said at the time, I mean, yeah, he had a fantastic season, but he wasn't that guy before.
No.
And he's tailed off. So, I mean, whatever.
Mo, I completely agree. Again, I think I basically said this exact thing. 2 center is a weak spot. Absolutely. Shen is fine as a 2 right wing. Yeah, I'm fine with Shen in your top 6. It's just, to me, the center position requires way more speed, way more hustle than Shen has in his tank. I think you need somebody else. And again, maybe that guy's Texier. He might step up and be a surprising addition this year. But to me, it's very unproven. You got to find something. There's plenty of options here to make a move still. But I don't know. I think this is, for the most part, I think this is the forward group we're going into training camp with. And I don't see them making another huge move. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Dvorsky would be an amazing addition if he makes the team. I would love to see what he could do at the NHL level. So defense. Oh, sorry, Bill. Do you have something to add?
I was going to say, if I had a water bottle, I'd throw it at Mo right now.
Did you?
Audrey. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Okay. Who said that? Oh, no. No, Mo. No. He says get Kadri.
Get Kadri. Oh,
get
no.
out. He's kidding. He's kidding. I feel so good when he jokes. Did you guys, side note, did you see the announcement of the theme nights with Jordan Binnington's video?
Yes. Yep. And at the very end, he throws the water bottle.
Yes. So it was cool to see, because they have oh, by the way, I'm not a country music fan, but they've got a country music night this year. That hat looks fucking incredible. I might have to go just to get the giveaway. But yeah, at the very end, he throws a water bottle. And I'm like, I'm so glad that the Blues have embraced that. Because I was so afraid when that happened. They were just going to be like, oh, we can't reference this because everybody's calling it racist, which it wasn't.
No.
Oh, I'm so happy.
The fans made racist comments. Some of them did. A few did online, which they do not speak for
people.
Blues Nation. They would not condone that at all. It's stupid idiots. But yeah, the whole water bottle throwing thing was not.
Oh, and there was an idiot Avalanche. I don't even want to call him a reporter because I think he just had a blog. But yeah, he flat out said after the water bottle incident, basically something along the lines of, would he have thrown that at a white man? Like, shut the fuck up. Yes, he would have.
Yes, he would.
That has nothing to do with it.
He's gone after white men before.
Many times.
It doesn't. Doesn't. I hate it when people try and make something out of nothing like that and make it something that it's not. It's just like, shut up. And you know what? I mean, I'll be that guy, typical Colorado journalist. I've seen some bad Colorado journalists over the years. Just
Adrian Dater. Excuse
me. Dater. Woody, what's his name? Woody
Williams.
No. Woody something. He was on that ESPN show. That
what was his name?
Woody Page.
Yeah.
He wasn't. I mean, I don't know if he still writes. I guess he does. But man, when he did, he was a controversial shit disturber. I hated him.
Yep.
Yeah. All those people that dug into Binner's like teenage social media shit.
Oh,
acting like it was stuff that he had just tweeted.
Yeah.
And trying to
17 years old, right?
An entitled racist piece of shit like that. Yeah, I think a certain guy at ESPN that used to be on Yahoo fanned some of those flames. So,
oh god,
another reason not to like him.
Did you see speaking of theme nights? Did you see the Rizzuto show night jersey?
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's pretty cool. It looks a lot like the LGB radio jerseys.
It does. It actually
looks a lot like them.
It's a good looking jersey. There was one that was they used the 90s clown jersey. I can't remember which one that was.
Oh, superhero night.
Superhero, yeah. The Batman one I got last year is incredible. I wear that one a lot. I
thought about going to that game. Didn't go.
It's a great one. But yeah, the Superman, I don't need that one. Plus, I don't like Superman. He's too powerful. That's my problem with him.
He's too powerful and doesn't do enough with his powers. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like he should be able to do anything. And
he should be able to kill every villain with his laser eyes.
Although he according to which movie was it? 3? He can turn back time by flying around the earth backwards.
That's true. And he can also, what was that weird thing? Was it Superman 4 where he took the S off his chest and
that wasn't that was
It was
That was
Christopher
2.
Reeves. Was it
Was
2?
it 2?
Yeah, and it like made
with
like
the three villains from outer space. With the black.
like
Yeah,
what the fuck was
it 2?
that?
That was
I've
if
never
you
seen him do that before or after that.
if you read like the whole, it was like the director or whoever had the say in this or who wrote it, they went all rogue on Superman's powers and pissed off everyone. Like you can take the S off your chest and throw it and wrap somebody up in it. It's like,
stupid.
what?
So stupid.
Yeah, it was bad.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the D real quick, guys, and then we'll get to wrapping it up. I don't think we need to talk about goaltending. It's Binnington and Hofer. There's no question there.
Solid goaltending. Like it. Love it.
Yeah, me too. So at defense, I think if the Blues get Broberg, and feel free to disagree with me, I think he instantly becomes your best left-handed defenseman. And I know he's young. He does not have the experience the other guys do. But to me, I love the upside of this kid. And I am all for, and I'm already willing to say, and maybe not right away, but I think by the end of the season, Philip Broberg would become your best left-handed defenseman.
Well, yeah, I mean,
above Nick Leddy, and then obviously Torrey Krug has his issues. The other guys, Pierre-Olivier Joseph, which I think is going to be a nice surprise for the Blues as well. But then, of course, you got Ryan Suter, Scott Perunovich, and Tyler Tucker.
Yeah,
Tucker will be in the AHL this year.
Hope so. He better be. He better fucking be.
Absolutely better be.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Can we? I guess we got to start workshopping a nickname for Leddy and Falk on the same pairing, like Minnesota fishing trip or something. I don't know.
That's good. I like it. I don't know. Do you pair Broberg with Parayko to see how that goes? I mean,
Why not?
I'd be interested.
After what we witnessed with Broberg pushing Nurse in the playoffs, yes.
I don't think Suter is going to get the time that people think he's going to get. I think he's.
I could see him topping out at 60 games, even without injury.
I think that's.
I could see him topping out at 10.
I think. I mean, injuries, could bump it up. I think to start the season, I can totally see him being in the top 6 or being in an offensive core. But I can see him quickly being healthy scratched.
Like a Daryl Storr here, right?
Yeah.
Like Storr was used very early in the season, the year he was here. And then very quickly it was like, we got better options.
Yeah. I mean, he's like a safety net, just like, he just, what you're going to get with him, I guess, at this age. You can play him, and but whatever. I mean, you should have better options than Suter.
Bill, are you serious with 10 games? I was going to say actually about 25 to 30 is my guess.
I would say 30. I would say 30.
Yeah. No, yeah. I still just don't understand unless there's additional moves coming, how he cracks this lineup on a consistent basis after, washing out 2 places, getting bought out, and he's at the end of his career.
I mean, he's making league minimum, right? $775. So
yeah. Well, he's got potential to earn a ton of bonuses,
right? Which is why I don't think he's going to play as much.
And exactly, and I think especially with the signing of and let's just say Broberg doesn't sign here, with the signing of P.O. Joseph, I think that was also an insurance for the Blues to be like, this way Suter doesn't have to hit all of his bonuses and we have to pay him more money.
Right. I agree.
I love Doug Paddock's comment here. I'm going to agree with you. He says to start probably Leddy Parayko, because I was not a fan of Leddy on the top pairing, but Parayko played really well with him. And then he says Broberg Falk, which I think is interesting because Falk sucked last year. Let's face it.
He did.
Maybe you put him with a young guy like Broberg. Maybe he turns it around. We'll see. And then he says Suter or Joseph with Kessel. I think by the end of the season, Leddy and Broberg are swapped, though. Yeah, 100%. I think by the end of the year, that is what we'll see. Broberg, Parayko is the top pairing. But Broberg, Falk does interest me. I think that would be a good pairing to see how Falk would fare with a faster, younger defenseman out there with him. And please stop. Even if Krug's healthy, no more Krug, Falk. Can we please just put an end to that? That never worked.
It's this is make or break year for Prunovich, I think, if he stays healthy, right? I mean, he's the pairings there from Doug. Yeah, Prunovich is not on him. So,
Yep. And I'll say, again, looking at just the depth chart right now, if Broberg signs here, 7 left-handed defensemen. I mean, you could literally have an entire defensive core of 7 left-handed defensemen, not adding in Parayko, Falk, and Kessel on the right side. So
how great would it be if you get Broberg, you've got Joseph playing, you've got Prunovich, you don't need Letty, for example, and you say, you know what, you're going to get scratched most nights. You want to waive your no trade.
Yeah.
If someone will take him, but he's. I mean,
I don't even know.
I don't even know what he's got. He's got 2 more years of $4 million per.
I am 100%. That is the defenseman I want gone. And I know that we disagreed on that, Kurt. I know I've disagreed with other Blues fans. I just think puck moving, Nicoletti is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Defensively, I think he is a goddamn shit show. So I would be so happy to see him moved.
Yeah. How many times did we complain about Nicoletti crossing Parayko up last year, getting lost, turning the wrong way, coming out of the corner? Like that I'm done with. So I don't know.
Yep.
Something tells me just with so many bodies on this roster, I hear an Armstrong quote from down the future. Well, having this many guys allowed us to make this move, right?
Yeah.
You have to have assets to make moves.
Yep.
So
no, I really do hope we see, again, Broberg especially. I'd love to see Holloway too, but give me Broberg all day. I think that is a huge addition for the left side. And it does make the Ryan Suter sighting a little irrelevant. But again, a nice safety net. He's there if you need him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. You think about it, man. I mean, if Torrey Krug can work through his issues and can play the way he played last season, adding in a Broberg on the left side and then moving Krug down to a third pairing where he's not relied on as much, I mean, that would be fantastic. Put Krug with Matthew Kessel, which was a great pairing for the second pairing last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love it. I hope it works out.
I think,
and you still got P.O. Joseph, who I think is going to be a surprise for Blues fans this year.
I think if everything works out otherwise, I think if Prunovich is a guy that maybe they would want to trade, he's probably got some value. Still pretty young.
This is the last year he'll have value, though.
Yeah, yep. Right. No, I agree. And I'm like, it could make or break year for him, right? I mean, he's still young enough where it's like he's got a lot of skill. He really does. But it's just, I don't know, maybe just
I think
a different team.
You pair him with a draft pick and one of the many forwards the Blues have, you might be able to get a decent second line center there. So just saying, I don't want to play armchair GM here, but I just feel like he is a good trade opportunity along with draft picks and one of the forwards, and you get something good.
He's only
total speculation.
He's only an RFA after the season.
Yep.
So they'd have his rights anyway.
Yep.
Unless Edmonton wants to offer sheet him.
Go ahead, sign Prunovich for $4 million.
Funny.
We won't argue.
That'd be funny to dangle Prunovich out there and not tender him, right? And then Edmonton's like, we'll offer shoot him. You can have him.
Go ahead. We're done.
Oh my God.
That would be incredible.
That'd be amazing.
Especially when he gets injured in his first preseason shift.
Right. That's funny.
Well, let's see. We got a couple comments here. Let's see. Heavy Hockey Network. If history is an indicator, Broberg has never ever played a full season of hockey. Don't expect that to change if he gets increased responsibility. Yeah, and I agree. I think
he's 23.
Blues,
how many opportunities has he had to play a full season of hockey?
Not much.
Not many.
And I think that's the Blues' case here. Again, with a Ryan Suter they signed earlier in the summer. I do think it's like, hey, we can sign Broberg, and if he starts to look shitty like Kessel kind of did midway through the year last year, we got Ryan Suter. We'll just throw him in there, and we'll sit Broberg, let him get his rest, and then bring him back in.
I mean, most young players in the NHL don't get a full season of work. the first
Yeah.
couple of seasons. I mean, it's
True.
It is what it is. I mean, you never know. I mean, we said that about Bennington too. Oh my gosh, he's never played a full, hadn't had a full workload for a full season of hockey. He's not gonna. We heard that he's not gonna be able to. He's not durable enough. He was.
Yeah.
So
Agree.
you never know. I mean, he may be very well right, Michael, about not being durable for the entire season. But I don't even know if was he hurt? Did he get hurt at some point? Was that why his games were limited in Edmonton? In 2 years? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
I don't believe so.
He
but I
played
could be
23
wrong.
games his first year, 46 his second, and then 12 last year.
I'm pretty sure it was just a matter of he's young. We don't want to give him a full season yet, kind of thing.
Well, kind of like
He's
Prunovich
not had
and
a.
Blues,
Oh wait,
right?
okay. Heavy Hockey Network responds here. I was wrong. I'm going to trust his word. He says he's not had a
Agreed.
full season because of injury every year, not because of how he played. Yeah. So there you go. That's part of it too.
Okay. So we had that here with Prunovich too for a couple years in a row where he got hurt.
Yep.
And last year he didn't get a full
Yes.
season of games in, but he was healthy the whole season.
No, he had one small injury, I'm pretty sure.
But he wasn't out too long though. How long was he
No,
out?
he was only out for maybe 5 or 6 games. I
Yeah,
don't think
so
it was
that's
anything
not
serious.
to me. That's full enough. Most players miss a few games with injury.
Has Nandor De Laurentiis made an appearance on the show yet? Because here he is.
I don't think so.
This kitty is almost not a kitten anymore.
Yeah.
He's been referenced, but this is his first appearance.
There he is. Big, almost fully grown cat. Well, anyway,
You should dress up the cat as Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder for Halloween.
I'm just a dude disguised as another dude playing another dude.
Right.
Everyone's gay sometimes.
I love that movie so much.
Such a good movie. I love it. All right. Well, let's next up for the Blues. It's actually nice to be able to say this because every other time I've said next up for the Blues, I've said nothing. It's the off season. Well, now we can kind of say it. We're about a month away. Saturday, September 21st, the Blues will bars at 6 o'clock in the preseason. And then, of course, Sunday, September 22nd, the Blues play the Utah Coyotes, which, by the way, is what I'm going to call them because I fucking hate that they don't have a team.
Utah Hockey Club.
So from now on, they will be the Utah Coyotes until they name a team. They will play at 6 o'clock in the preseason. Utah's first home game in Des Moines.
Brilliant.
Makes no fucking sense. God.
Brilliant.
So people in Des Moines get to see the Utah team before people in Utah.
Dumb. Well, they can
Makes
see in
total
practice.
sense.
They can see in practice.
Unbelievable. I think that is so ridiculous. But anyway, beside the point. Actually, well, I guess technically the next Blues games will be the prospect showcase. So again, that starts Friday, September 13th. I will be going to those games. If you are, please let me know, and I'd love to meet up with you. Rapid fire tidbits from the NHL. Not a lot going on. It is August 14th. The only news, I guess, lately has been that John Tavares has lost his C in Toronto, and Austin Matthews is the new captain. Do you guys think Craig Berube had anything to do with that?
I don't know. Matthews was the captain in waiting, right? I mean,
yeah.
So,
and Tavares kind of seemed like he, probably was wearing it too heavy.
maybe.
So,
Yeah. Matthews seems like the kind of guy that would maybe handle it better.
Heavy Hockey Network, great show, guys. Looking forward to next season. Hell yes. And my mistake, Michael. I should have had you on this show. That was my fault. We'll get you on maybe again before the summer starts. We'll see what happens next week.
Hey, maybe he didn't want to come on the show.
He would have loved to come on the show. I'm telling you that right now. Michael and I have a weird broship going on here, so he would have loved it. I know it. Michael's sitting there puking right now, like, oh.
Well, you know what? You can maybe have him on after a week and see what happens with the offer.
That's what I was thinking. Even though we've got a packed rest of the summer, yes, that's great. That's a good idea. But yeah, I will also say that. listen to Oilers Live. Again, I don't know if he's got a show coming anytime soon, but I'm sure he's going to break this down from the Oilers side as well. So make sure you check out Michael on Oilers Live in the Heavy Hockey Network. But yeah, I think it's interesting with Matthews because when they named Tavares as captain, I don't remember exactly what it was, but Matthews was involved in something. There was like a scandal of some point. Something happened to where it was right before they were going to announce captain. And then they went with Tavares. And a lot of people speculated if Matthews wouldn't have been involved in this, it was going to be Tavares.
Wasn't that that in the back of the cab thing? In the back of the Uber?
That wasn't Matthews.
Those
was
were
it?
Toronto players, weren't they?
I thought it was Arizona players.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, because it was Chris Weidman was the guy that was blackballed.
That's right.
But yeah, no, to me it's like the most Toronto, Tavares is, we have these pictures of Tavares, falling asleep as a kid in Maple Leaf sheets. He's destined, right? It's that, it was the entitlement thing, I think, for Tavares. And he was a number 1 overall pick and a damn good hockey player, but it's his leadership hasn't gotten him over the hump. And Austin Matthews is his hairline definitely tells us he's not getting any younger, so you got to pass the torch at some point.
All right, here it is. I found it.
Ken Morris says Mitch Marner is still a Leaf. I think that's shocked some people.
I think he might be calling me out. I made a claim with Bill on the last show that we did live that Mitch Marner will be a Utah Coyote by the start of the season, because I feel like that's a big move that Utah would be trying to make. And they went out and got Sergachev. So I think that might have been their big move. So I might have been wrong there. But what a shock. Me being wrong. That never happens.
Yeah. I actually really like that move. And if Joe Wall has the year that he had last year and can do it over an entire season, they'll be good. But yeah, it's so hard to believe that they can ever win with that core.
Yeah. So yeah, I was right. Matthews was involved in an incident in May of 2019 that involved him trying to enter the car of a female security guard at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
The complaint filed May 28th says the incident occurred outside of Matthews' condo building, and Matthews, who was with a group of friends, tried to enter the security guard's car without her discretion. So it was a very minor thing, but I remember that happened right before the Leafs were going to announce captain.
He was,
and
I think he was drunk, was he not?
Oh,
yes.
Had to
for
be.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway, well, I think that'll do it, guys. Anything else to add? I can't believe we went 2 hours. Actually, I shouldn't say I can't believe. I can't believe.
We haven't been together for a whole summer. Of course, we're going to go 2 hours.
I just seriously thought, I was like, we got literally one thing to talk about. We will go maybe an hour.
No, it doesn't matter what the topic is. We can talk for 2 hours on anything.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
All right. Next week, topic will be, is hot dog a sandwich?
Ooh.
Special guest Phil Kessel.
And is taco pizza really a pizza?
Ooh, great question.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to post that to Tom Calhoun? Bring him back on for that, because you got to run the Tom Calhoun episode.
No, I'm going to bump him again.
You have no idea how in depth of a conversation we had at work. It went bits and pieces for months about hot dogs and a sandwich.
No, I know all of you. Months, years would be okay.
We broke this down to levels and details you have no idea, and I am firmly entrenched in my beliefs of this. I'm not going to get into it because we'd be doing the show all night.
Like I said, that's the topic next week. We're bumping Tom Calhoun again.
We should. That's totally needs to be like the title of the show next week. Tom Calhoun bumped for is a hot dog a sandwich discussion.
Might have to do that. We'll see. See if he ever comes on after that again.
And get Calhoun a shirt that says I was bumped for
That right
hot
there.
dog,
We got
for the hot dog
gotta
is a
make
discussion-
that happen.
is a sandwich discussion.
You're the t-shirt guy. You should just make a shirt for sale that says I was bumped on Let's Go Blues Radio for hot dog talk.
That's funny.
That's good stuff. Big Beaver, have a good night, y'all. Great show. Talk to you soon, Ponder. Yes, sir, you will. Ken Morris says it is great to see the trio together. Yes, it is. It's been a long summer. I've had a great summer doing this show, but yeah, I do miss talking to the boys. So, Justin Scott, I have my first day of my new job tomorrow. Congratulations. Cheers to you, sir.
Good luck, sir.
Yes.
Stripper at PTs.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Bill's the guard there, so that'll be real interesting to see how that goes.
It's my third side hustle.
Yeah, you the guy that cooks the barbecue outside?
Yes.
I had a guy say on social media, I think it was social media, he goes, "That is the best barbecue you will ever eat."
It's so good.
Was that you that said that? Was it you?
But I know I've had it and it's phenomenal. Now, part of the reason is because I'm wasted every time I've had it.
Tell me you didn't get wasted
good.
at the strip club, because that would you'd be in debt.
Oh no, I get
$12
wasted,
for a
and
beer.
then I have an Uber take me to the strip club.
That's like getting drunk at the stadium. It's like you don't do that. You get
Do it
drunk before you
before.
go to the stadium. Yeah.
Yep. That's the only reason I ever go to a strip club is because
drunk.
We're all wasted and they're like, let's keep the party going. Let's go to the strip club.
Hey, why not? You take women with you, you might get in for free.
If it wasn't for that, I would never go to a strip club ever. But it's because I'm already drunk when somebody suggests it.
I've been for a couple of bachelor parties, and a couple times we're just out and about and drinking, and it's like, hey, why not? We're driving by on 55. Sure, why not? Or 64, I guess.
Okay, before we close up, Ken Morris, any updates on Bill's comeback? Yeah, we I think you might have missed that at the start of the show, Ken. We will have another episode soon where we have video of Bill. We had a little skate around, not so much a pickup, just kind of a let's take shots on Bill for an hour. So we did get that all on tape. Much better footage this time, by the way, because it was actually on the ice.
Yeah.
So we will have that as well.
Not through a puck streak on the boards.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I got a one of those suction cup things where it actually sticks up to the glass, and then because it was just a shoot around, we had a free camera going around following people as they were skating in with the puck. So we got some really cool footage of it. So I'm really excited to share that. It's just there's so much news. There's so much going on right now, and Tom Calhoun needs to have his moment too.
Unless he gets bumped. All right, you should have him on for like 5 minutes and say, all right, that's enough. We got to get to our hot dog talk.
Yes. Maybe I'll do that next week.
The highlight of the show is
I'll start to air the interview, and then I'll cut it in between. I go, now breaking news, we have hot dog talk.
You should ask every guest, just get a tally. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Just yes or no.
That's a great quote. Maybe that's next summer. Maybe that's what I'll do.
Yeah. Yeah, just bring in these cool hockey guests and just don't talk hockey, just talk hot dogs.
There you go. That's the way to do it. like Bill said, Phil Kessel would appreciate that.
Right. No, I mean, he might come on the show.
All right, boys. Anything else to add?
No, I think we beat this horse to death.
Yes. Yep. Again, folks, remember, we are back every single week. We'll have Tom Calhoun on, I promise, next week.
The voice of the PA voice of the Blues, by the way, if you didn't know that.
I shouldn't say promise in case the Blues do something else. We might need to bump him again, but I think he understands. But we will have an interview with Tom Calhoun on coming up soon, as well as people from the HNA to respond to the Save the BHL episode, as well as Bill taking the crease again, and many other fun things to do this summer. We have about a month left until our regular shows. So just remember, we will always be around, and we're always posting shows. So plenty of stuff to talk about.
Make sure you tell Mr. Calhoun that we still use his part of his intro on the
well, you
podcast.
heard the part that he recorded for me, right?
Which one?
I got him to record something. We already recorded the interview, And he recorded a very special thing for me.
Did you tell me that?
I sent it to you. Yes,
you did.
Yeah.
When?
did.
When you
It's
send
in
it?
the Slack, Kurt. It's in the Slack channel.
You know
It's in
what?
the
You
Slack.
guys flood that with the Puck Dooku shit all the time.
How
Stuff we
many
buried.
times have we told you to make a Puck Doku channel so we can just post in there?
Do I have to make that?
Yes, you have to.
We do not have the capability.
All right.
You are
I'll
the
do that.
administrator.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
God damn it. This is why we don't like having
All I
Kurt
see
on
is
summer
bling, bling,
shows.
bling, bling, Puck Dooku, Puck Doko.
Yeah,
Duko.
no wonder you never
Doku.
respond to anything we say to you.
Because it all gets lost in your
do it right fucking now as I read the outro. Make a
fucking
Puck Doku channel, and
Trade me
Bill
right fucking
and
now.
I will only post in that channel for Puck Doku.
Trade me right fucking now.
This is how we talk to each other off air, by the way, folks. All right. Let's close her up, guys. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty. Email him at mike@strikewithmike.com today for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's mike@strikewithmike.com. And Wolf Power Washing, St. Louis's premier power washing company with the best rates in town. Call Joe Wolf at 314-420-5434 and get the best looking and greatest power washer in the area. That is 314-420-5434. That will wrap up the Terry Hollinger episode 44 of season 13 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. Sorry, Kurt just made a channel for us, and it's hilarious. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Bill Day and Kurt Price, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, fuck Stan Bowman. Let's go Blues.
Go Utah Coyotes.
Let's go Blues.
Worst outro ever.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
You thought I was going to say, son of a bitch, didn't you?